And that's why we all need to pull together to thwart these attempts and to bring back American strength, power, and prestige. We will soon have it back. No threat will shake me. No enemy will intimidate me. And I have never been more determined than I am today, and I will never back down in my fight to make America great again, which is what we're doing.
Well, what Representative Matt Gaetz said about the 5 kill teams, there's no question that there are even more. I am going to repeat my public warning here because of my intel sources that there are surface-to-air missiles in possession of some of these kill teams. I think these may be even shoulder-fired surface-to-air missiles. You know, small range, but they could take out potentially Trump's airplane. And I agree with what you said yesterday or the day before. Trump needs to, at this point, hunker down. He needs to just do live streams and interviews from a safe location. They're going to use increasingly dangerous area effect weapons to try to take out Trump. Well, we are in the last chapter of a U.S. empire that has been on a suicide path for quite some time, financially and otherwise, geopolitically. And I do want to say, even if Trump is sworn in January, that cannot stop history from playing out here. The warmongering neocons and you know the assassins and the color revolution leaders of the American empire that have been basically operating this since the assassination of JFK, they are on their last legs, and so they're in desperation mode, and there's nothing they won't do at this point. There's no limit to the number of even Americans that they would sacrifice if it kept them in power.
Buckle up, patriots. We're about to dive into a story that'll make your blood run cold. President Trump, the man who dared to challenge the swamp, is now facing direct threats on his life. Multiple threats. We're talking simulated drone attacks, FBI investigations tainted by anti-Trump bias, and a foreign regime openly fantasizing about harming a former U.S. president on American soil. Okay, let's show you right now what was just published by the Iranian regime that has everybody up in arms. Donald Trump Jr. says this was posted on the Ayatollah's website. I guess we should expect nothing less from a terrorist regime. My father had Iran almost bankrupt, and the Biden-Harris administration gave them millions, making the world a far more dangerous place. Let's watch this together. Target. And there you have it. A direct threat published by the Ayatollah himself on his website. Patriots, brace yourselves for a shocking revelation that strikes at the heart of our nation's security. We've received alarming intelligence about a potential threat to Trump Force One. Multiple sources confirm that surface-to-air missiles have been smuggled across our southern border, allegedly intended for a strike against the former president's aircraft. This is not another conspiracy theory, folks. We're talking about credible threats that have reached the highest levels of our government. The question is, who is behind this, and how deep does this rabbit hole go? Today, who tipped me off to this news. And at first I'm like, come on, man, this has just got to be a joke. I mean, this has got to be some, I messaged General Flynn. I said, General Flynn, have you heard this news? And he literally responded. And I asked him, I said, General Flynn, have you heard the stories about the reports smuggled surface-to-air missiles intended for Trump's plane in Iran? He said, I saw the reports, pretty crazy, really, but so aren't 2 assassination attempts. Now, we also know there are 5 assassination groups that are in the United States. And, okay, now let's just set the stage. Before this report hit my desk today, this happened just days ago. This is from News Nation. All right, so for the YouTube minders out there that want to suppress this information and call it conspiracy or whatever, let's go to a mainstream source that's going to verify the information that we're talking about. Okay?
Mexico. Shocking discovery, really representing what CBP is calling a drastic escalation in the type of weaponry being used over in Mexico. So we were able to exclusively obtain an internal alert that went out to Border Patrol. Now, this alert said that 4 rocket-propelled grenades, or RPGs, and 8 improvised explosive devices, or IEDs, were found, along with a large amount of ammunition within a scout site that was also dismantled by Mexican officials.
U.S. law enforcement should be concerned for their safety, especially along the border, because those missiles and those weapons easily come across the border. They do have the resources, and in fact, they do have the capabilities and will use them against us, especially when we go in the next couple of months, depending on what happens in this political atmosphere. They have the capabilities to fight back.
So I pulled that directly from the News Nation TikTok account. So for anyone who wants to start screaming, conspiracy theory, guess what? That is an official report. All right? So just suck it, would you? Now, Health Ranger reporting here that Ann Vandersteel confirming it's 9 surface-to-air missile systems, which are now in the hands of kill teams targeting Trump. This is the quantity that has already been distributed to 3 kill teams, meaning they each have 3 missiles. Pray for Trump's safety. Now, what set this off was the text message I received earlier today, linking me to this Ann Vandersteel message. And again, my initial reaction was this can't be real. Okay, but I had to dig deeper, and once I started digging deeper, I said there is some validity to these allegations. Ann Vandersteel breaking all hands on deck. Intelligence just in from the southern border. 9 surface-to-air missiles have been smuggled into the U.S. across the New Mexico border. Okay, so after I read this message, I said, okay, we got to find out what's the source. Where is this coming from? And I found it. I'm gonna play for you the actual source of Ann Vandersteel, where this came from. Intended target Trump Force One, a confidential human source relayed to Doc Pete Chambers and B.A. Baz Ark. Unconfirmed possible Iranian origin 3-man teams intended to take delivery of the missiles. Members of Congress have been captured, standing next to members of the cartel taking pictures. She speculates an operation of the size would require insider help, upper-level management, perhaps the intel community and or DOJ. The Sinaloa Cartel is the only known organization capable of facilitating an operation of this scope. 45. Trump's team knows. Trump tweeted about it. Americans are standing up, and we are the white hats you are waiting for. God bless America and God bless Trump. Now, she links to the screenshot of Donald Trump that was posted on September 25th. Big threats on my life by Iran. The entire U.S. military is watching and waiting Moves were already made by Iran that didn't work out, but they will try again. Not a good situation for anyone. I am surrounded by more men, guns, and weapons than I have ever seen before. Thank you to Congress for unanimously approving far more money to Secret Service. 0 no votes, strictly bipartisan. Nice to see Republicans and Democrats get together on something. An attack on a former president is a death wish for the attacker. Okay, so I had to keep digging for this. And as you know, there's a lot of rhetoric that is continuing to be
what he says
volatile.
is the opposite. It's just another lie. Like, how did we get here? Let's extinguish him for good. We have an answer. We have a
That's the rhetoric coming from the left. Now, you guys want to see it. You guys want to see the original source for this information. Here it is. If you're following me on X, you already know. 2 separate intel reports have confirmed the presence of 9 surface-to-air missiles of possible Iranian origin smuggled into the U.S. via New Mexico. These missiles, designed for low-altitude attacks, are believed to target former President Trump's plane. A highly disturbing revelation from Dr. Pete Chambers. All right, you ready? Let's listen to his account.
What's going on? So on the evening of the 22nd of September, that would be Sunday, we got 2 separate reporting streams that came through. And then, one of these came from Boz's side, and I'll let him explain that one. Those reporting streams were not connected to each other. This is important to understand. When we're looking at information that comes to us, we want to make sure that, what's the validity, the veracity of the information that we're getting. These were not connected. Both of these reporting streams had access of placement to information, which then corroborated once we all started talking and saying, what's going on here? And this one particular one from our side was a confidential informant that we have that works on the border. We do get information from here down in Texas all the way over to San Ysidro, California. So this one came out of the New Mexico area of operations. It's not our particular locale, but the informant was working that location and has the ability to access and place himself into nefarious networks on the border. So when he intercepted this information that, and this is, bottom line up front, that 9 surface-to-air missiles of possible Iranian origin, we don't know, I don't have hands on, but surface-to-air missiles have crossed into the United States at a New Mexico point of entry. Now, that's going to lead us to a lot of supposition here, but we have to understand that this information was too specific not to take notice and to disseminate it. We operate on the find, fix, and finish, analyze, exploit, or expose, and then analyze these things and to disseminate. That's what we do, F3 EAD. It appears that, based upon this reporting, that the identified target is the former president's Trump's plane, his airplane. And this is why it reached to the highest levels of anything that we've touched down here. Typically, we're looking at, chasing down narco terrorists or, trying to pull kids out of bad places. This one went way above and beyond. The presence, and this is the other corroboration, that there's a presence of 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 three-man teams within the country who were to receive said cargo. Is it in their hands? It's unknown at this time to me. Okay. But with regard to this ordinance, and this is important to understand when you're talking about a technique or tactic or practice of the enemy that is inside this country, the 3 teams that we're talking about. The suspected type of surface-to-air missile has a range of up to 5 kilometers with a maximum flight height of 4,000 feet, and its speed can reach up to 850 miles per hour. That's over Mach 2 point something, almost Mach 3, with a 1.4 kilogram HE, high explosive warhead. So these are looking at planes that are flying low and slow or on a takeoff or a landing. All right, so that's where we would see this type of attack being taken place. I've worked with surface-to-air missile before, so has Boz, and we understand that this is not for something to fly up in the stratosphere. This is for something on low and slow, helicopter, or something that is just taking off or on approach. More concerning about this particular ordinance is that the sophistication of its laser targeting system. It has a 360-degree arc on it, which is heat. It's heat-seeking. Okay, but it is infrared and it's heat-seeking. The time from what we call march to firing is about 10 seconds. That means a dude takes it out of a car, takes it out of a pack. He's got 10 seconds to set it up and fire this thing off. Could easily reach anything that's on approach or on takeoff. So that kind of tells you what it is. Now, here's our analytic considerations. to get 9 surface-to-air missiles across the United States border at a point of entry would require some insider help. There's no way that you're coming across with this type of ordinance at a point of entry, and this was in New Mexico. The specifics are still being held. We talked to our law enforcement and friends and said we'll hang on to some of the information because they're investigating. The only organization that we know of this kind in that area of operations is the Sinaloa Cartel. There's a lot of things going on there. I'm going to suggest that if you look a little history on that, I'm not going to go into it a lot here, but we've got a lot of stuff going with Guzman, this guy that's being held in the country, extradition, things like that. There are potentials for other things that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But our analysis indicates that we cannot rule out assistance or direction from upper level management. And that goes all the way to our intelligence committee and the Department of Justice. I don't have that. I don't have the specifics on that, but I do know that that is being investigated. Since the right answer for them, for us, we this is a happenstance finding, but these are things that we cannot hide. We cannot keep to ourselves. For them, their duty is to find, fix, and finish, expose, analyze, and disseminate this type of information. This is time sensitive. It cannot be mulled over any longer. Boz and myself and our team all woke up every morning now going, we can't let this happen on our watch. It doesn't matter the risk. We're willing to take the risk. We're willing to take the hard hits because this kind of stuff, this is like the kid with his finger in the dike. This is the type of stuff. This is a wake up criteria, we call it. Boss, you got to know. Understand this. The 45 team, the Trump team knows about this. He tweeted about it. It's already been out on open source intelligence. That being, another medium that came out. It was on, Health Ranger. He put out some information on this. So people are getting the information. It always leaks. And Boz will corroborate this. It always leaks. Not from us, but from other places. People hear about it. Hey, guess what? So we've got to get the pressure on our IC DOJ legislators. Look, I am almost convinced that there are legislators on Capitol Hill that are involved in this. Okay. And that's scary to say, and it's hard to say on this medium, but I don't know their names, but they will be found out because there is money that's been transferred to cartels to push something through a point of entry in New Mexico to allow for 9 surface-to-air missiles to make it into our country with the intended target of the former president. So on the evening of the
with the former president in the crosshairs. Now, if you recall, just recently the Senate unanimously passed legislation to mandate higher Secret Service protection for the presidential nominees of major parties, sending the measure to President Joe Biden's desk. We hope that he signs that. Health Ranger, of course, weighing in. Now, let's go back to this moment here. This was just posted 16 hours ago. Secret Service does say there are 5 assassination teams in the U.S. trying to kill Trump. Matt Gaetz, let's go to him.
And I'll break a little news for you. I had a senior official from the Department of Homeland Security in my office before the second assassination attempt saying that what he has assessed is that there are 5 known assassination teams in the United States, 3 inspired by other governments, 2 that are here that are known domestic assassination teams. And with that, this individual was coming to me concerned that the force protection around President Trump, even prior to that second assassination attempt, was not sufficient for what it needed to be. And the coordination at that level, at the dignitary protection level, is like the bare minimum that we have to do to keep our presidents, our presidential candidates safe while they're on the trail.
So there are 5, I just want to follow up, 5 assassination teams. Are they all targeting Trump? Is it other officials?
Yes. No, wow. I should have been clear about that. 5 teams that we know are targeting Trump. And so that raises real questions about why certain teams were being pulled off of the Trump detail and put on, for example, the Jill Biden detail. Now, we don't want anything bad to happen to Jill Biden, but at the same time, the threat envelope for her was substantially different than the threat envelope around President Trump.
So that was a report from Matt Gaetz just several days ago that we reported on. Now, News Nation, as I showed you earlier, to give their story credibility, they said they found an RPG on the border so someone could smuggle them in. It is time to stay focused on Trump Force One. Let's dig a little deeper into this actual News Nation Now report. Weapons found on the Mexico side of the border. Border Patrol alert. Border Patroller warns of 4 rocket-propelled grenades and 8 IEDs found. Located on the Mexico side of the southern border near Arizona. Sources say these would not be used on U.S. side of the border. Concerns remain. Yeah. Alert going out to the Border Patrol warns of military-grade weapons being found on the Mexico side of the border near Ajo, Arizona. Ajo. Weapons located per the alert include 4 rocket-propelled grenades, 8 improvised explosive devices known as IEDs, as well as a large amount of ammunition. A scout site was also discovered and then dismantled by Mexican officials. This is one example of the drastic escalation in the type of weaponry being used at the U.S.-Mexico border, Customs and Border Protection sources say. Sources within the agency tell News Nation they're confident that these weapons would not be used on the U.S. side of the border. How can they be confident? How can they be confident in that? I mean, the border is wide open. And now we're learning that rocket-propelled weaponry has made its way into the United States with the intended target of Donald Trump. Sounds like these guys are off the mark. Let's continue. Now, Laura Logan, okay? She says, according to an informant in New Mexico, Trump's plane is the next target for assassination. 9 heat-seeking surface-to-air missiles have been smuggled into the U.S. for this purpose, and there are 3 kill teams already inside the country. Trump has been informed. So have the U.S. intelligence agencies and other authorities. Money's been transferred to a cartel to push this over the border. These people are cornered and vicious. They will stop at nothing.
This is what the New World Order said they would do is coming true. They're going to carry out the forced depopulation of 90% of us, and their time frame is 2030, and they have their surrogates all over the news telling us that it's the end of the world as we know it, and that it's our fault that all the systems are breaking down, while they deliberately go down the line, turning the civilization infrastructure off in front of us. And everything else flows downstream from that. But that's the fount of it. BlackRock with $15 trillion in liquid assets. They've got quadrillions leveraged, and they control almost every major CEO, almost every major pension fund. And they get up on TV and say, we're going to control every aspect of your life. We're going to break your families up. We're going to make you eat bugs, and we're going to do all of this. And it's their policies that can destroy any company they want that doesn't get in line. I know they stage those terror attacks. You know what it's like to gut up to this and go out every day and go past the peer pressure and come out day one and say 9/11 was an inside job and lose most of the radio stations I was on. You know what it's like to go to sleep every night knowing you work for a bunch of psychotic killers and you bastards are probably going to end up killing me one day. You know what it's like knowing you've ruined my life. You know what it's like, you sons of bitches. I'm tired of your crap. You commit evil, you're part of an evil system, and we're standing up against you. And the Republic is going to defeat you in the end. Some of us won't make it personally through this, but a lot of us are. And in the end, you are going to be brought to justice. You want to fight? Better believe you've got one. You want to enslave my spirit? No! And I'll call on God to protect me and use me however God sees fit. And if I've destroyed my whole family with it, I don't blame God. I blame the stinking trash who will pay. These Nazi blood-sucking anti-American parasites that want to make you and your family slaves know that we are standing up against them, and we are red-blooded, and we are not slaves, and we are not bowing down to them. Listen, fuckhead, you have fucking crossed the line. Get that through your goddamn fucking head. Stop pushing your shit. You're the people that have fucked this country over and gang raped the shit out of it, so stop shooting your mouth off claiming I'm the enemy. You got that, you goddamn son of a bitch? I'll eat your ass. I'll do it. I will eat your ass.